All right, so I'm gonna try to work out this technical difficulties of Carlos here. All right, Carlos, you got to work now.
There we go. All right, we got it.
Well, it's good to finally get you on. I was trying to get you on before, and I appreciate you taking time to do this. Great to have you on.
Heck yeah.
And I like to let people who maybe, if there's people who aren't familiar with you, you can maybe introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. It was crazy. Yeah, I'm Carlos Puente Jr. I'm a pro MMA fighter. I've been training for 10 years now. At first, I started at True MMA with obviously Cub Swanson. That was my first real coach. And more recently, I moved to Orange County and I'm with Classic Fight Team now.
And who's over there?
Well, we got my coach Tyler Wombles. We got people coming in, especially to hit pads with him. We got TJ Dillashaw. We've had Juan Archuleta. We've had Alex Perez was there today. I know this guy. I don't know if this is his nickname, but he goes by Yuma. He was there. I think he's in LFA. I want to say, but yeah, he was there today. Just we got a lot of people, and of course, shout out to my boy Pac-Man fighting tomorrow, LFA. Make sure to tune into that.
Now, when did you kind of first find MMA, or when did you start looking at it as maybe something you want to do?
As a career, probably at 23. So I always liked fighting. I got into a lot of fights growing up, and I liked doing it. Not that I liked like being a bully or anything like that. I just when I was fighting, and as soon as I got done, maybe just because I had some pretty good results, I was stoked on it. I don't know, it was like fun. Then my friends and I in high school would beat each other up with boxing gloves in the backyard. And after I went to school, got all that done, tried to make my parents proud, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do one thing for myself, and I chose MMA.
And how many fights you had so far?
12 pro, and I had three amateurs before that.
And do you know like when your next fight is going to happen?
I know for sure May 28th. I got something in the books. I just gave all my info to their matchmaker. And so when that gets announced, I'll announce it as well. But yeah, I'm looking at May 28th, and hopefully something in April. I've been bugging Combate, which I just fought for twice. I've been bugging their matchmaker a lot. So hit me back, Tony. Been hitting you up. I want to get something in April for sure.
Have you talked to Campbell McLaren at all?
Not Campbell like on the phone. I did see him like personally, out there when I was in Miami. He had a good feeling about my fight. I feel like I put on a pretty good performance, so hopefully he remembers me. And I just got to get that win, so he really does. I got to get in his head.
Now, did you first start training when you found MMA, or were you doing like some other martial arts before?
No, so when I started training, it was all together MMA. I mean, I was 23 already, which was 10 years ago. Let's see, 2013. So MMA was like on the rise. It wasn't, what it was back in the day. Like when I was a kid, I discovered like UFC one on a VHS at Hollywood Video. Like I rented
Hmm.
that with my cousin, my family, and we just watched it because we were boxing fans, we were fighting fans. So we watched that, and so I was always aware of the UFC. And in 2013 is when I started to actually get myself into it, like start training. But yeah, I think I started watching almost like every single event, especially because it wasn't too many back then. When Tito fought Shamrock the second time,
Yeah.
around then.
And you kind of, how long had you been training before you were looking to have your first fight?
I was trying to fight immediately, to be honest, but luckily my coaches held me back. I didn't actually end up uh, fighting until like I want to say like 2 years, almost 2.5 years after I started training with Cub. And you know what? Good thinking. It went well. I won, but I broke my ulna right here. See that? That was in the very first round of my very first amateur fight. But I think that because we took our time, because I was kind of just ready for anything. Like I was mentally prepared to go through that and still get the win.
Now, what was it like starting out with Cub?
So I knew of Cub just slightly, just fights. There wasn't too much like on fighters back in the day, You had to like really dig that up maybe in like forums or something. So I seen him fight in the WEC. I knew he had the palm tree tattoo, SoCal. Um, but other than that, like I just knew it was a fighter from around the area where my parents had just moved to, or where I was moving back to, because I'd gone to school, then I moved back with them for a bit. But yeah, so when I went to go train, I just knew it was a professional, and I think around then too, the UFC was absorbing the WEC. So instead of just being like a WEC fighter, now he was a UFC fighter as well, and I think I was around then for that movement. I was like I think I was surprised at how humble he was. Like he didn't, I don't know, we just kind of talked like people, and I think I expected something else. And yeah, it was cool to just talk to him like a normal person. Day one.
He's had a lot of longevity. Why do you think that is?
He pushes himself. I mean, well, first of all, dang, there's so many reasons I feel like why. He's a student of the game, first of all. Like first and foremost, he just like loves mixed martial arts. He's a student of the game in the sense that like he's always trying to learn more and more and more, trying to get better and better and better. He never settles, and that's been like day one. He's never settled. And then now with all the experience that I have, I feel like he kept a lot of young people, especially a lot of young, hungry fighters that were just starting out or in the middle of their careers or just making their boom. Like he's always had young fighters around him, which I think also helps keep him young. He kind of like it's kind of like when I started, I was not that good, but going with somebody like Cub, going with better people, I have to like get better quicker. And I feel like that's kind of what he's getting from these younger fighters.
And so, what did you feel like? I always like to talk guys about their development.
Hmm.
What like strong areas do you feel you developed with him specifically before you kind of where you are now?
I think that he built fighters like first and foremost. He didn't necessarily make us like just strikers or just jujitsu guys or I don't know defensive guys or oh you guys always got to attack or this and that. He well for me personally he let me shine. There was like every single coach besides Cub has told me to keep my hands up. And for some reason or another, like my hands don't like to stay up. I think I like to keep them down, move my head a little bit more. He was a guy that really encouraged me to just build my own style. He encouraged my awkward timing. He encouraged like weird traits that each one, or not weird, but unique traits that made each fighter themselves. And then he helped us boost that. And then, like I said, he made us fighters. So he didn't necessarily just give us these techniques and say, put them together. Like he told us why we need to know these specific techniques or how to get up this way or why he was showing us how to punch a certain way. I remember just getting there and like practicing my right hand, my two, just to make it go in a straight line for like at least one straight week. Like that was my task. He helped me develop that because he saw I maybe had a loopy kind of right hand. He knew that it'd just be better for me, especially with my length. Um, get better at that technique, and he really encouraged that.
Now, why did you end up going to another gym after him, or how did that take
So I,
place?
I stayed with True MMA. I stayed with Cub as long as I possibly could. Once he moved to Orange County, we, as in myself, Heber, my cousin Mark Doom, a couple of us from his gym at True MMA got invited to come to the training lab and start training here, where TJ was at, Juan was at, Georgie Karakanyan, Arnold, Eddie Lopez, Sato Wad. We had Chito Vera coming in. We had Daryl Lynch coaching. We had Mark Munoz coaching. At one point, we had Mark Ohuas coaching. I mean, it was this like huge gym for us, true MMA guys, that were like, I mean, it was like the same little crew, 8 of us really, and then like new people that would come in, boom, 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 boom. So like to be at this big gym with all these big names training with these people, it was this huge opportunity that I followed, and so we made the move to Orange County as well, and we've just been out here since then, and he's been out here. He's got his own gym actually, Cub. He's got the UFC gym in Costa Mesa, So check that out if you're in the area. So we made the move with him pretty much.
So you're kind of he's at another gym, and you're just who are like the mainstays at your gym in particular?
At my gym in particular, let's see. Well, I've been training a lot with Pac-Man, like I mentioned earlier. Carly, he's fighting tomorrow night. I kind of at a lot of gyms, so I get to train with like Cub here and there. I get to train with TJ here and there. I was at the training lab for a while, so I was training with a lot of people from there. And then people from the training lab also moved to Classic Fight Team just to get more sparring partners. Um, it's kind of cool actually down here. We don't really like I don't know. I think that I'm able to go to these gyms without any problems, right? I'm able to train at 10th Planet Mission Viejo. I'm able to train at Classic Fight Team. I'm able to train at Raw Talent Boxing, the training lab. I've been invited to like other gyms and I've accepted. I've gone to them and always welcoming. Everybody's super nice down here in Southern California, actually. But the mainstays that I train with, as far as MMA goes, we have two MMA classes usually at Classic. I'm there with Bailey. I'm there with Pac-Man. I'm there. I had my brother Carlos Cordova. He just won a fight in Costa Rica. And then, like, when people get fights, they start coming in, right? So I like to be at the gym 24/7, almost every single day. A lot of people just kind of like come in for camps, but I don't know. It's like the one and only thing that I like to do is MMA, so I'm there every day.
Yeah, it's kind of your gym, right? Or your am I right about that?
No, not my gym personally. No, Tyler Wombles owns that gym. We got Diego Paez as one of the coaches, also a big Muay Thai fighter. I know that he teaches class too. But yeah, Tyler Wombles' gym, and I'm just happy to be welcome there.
So, like, how many hours a day are you training? You think?
So Tuesdays and Thursdays are my heaviest days, and I'm training about 5 hours. I'd wake up, I would do Muay Thai at Classic, I would do MMA at Classic. Then there's a couple hours break before I go do wrestling with Kyle. I want to say his name is Shanae. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, but his name is Kyle for sure. Coach Kyle teaches wrestling at 10th Planet, and Budo Matt, my coach over there as well at 10th Planet Mission Viejo. Budomat's been like another huge help for me out here in Orange County. Without him, man, I don't know like where I'd be, where my game would be. My life would be completely different without him. So like big shout out to 10th Planet Mission Viejo and Budo Matt specifically for taking me in. I've been training with him at 10th Planet Orange, 10th Planet Costa Mesa, and now at his own gym, which is 10th Planet Mission Viejo.
So let's talk about kind of like your career. I know you had mentioned that you just kind of fought in Combate.
Yeah.
Maybe you can't say where you're going to fight next, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe how did you end up in Combate? Were you kind of pushing to get it, or did you have a
Yeah,
manager?
actually, super pushing for it. So I met Tony, the matchmaker I usually talk to. I met him at another fight with one of my friends from True MMA. He actually fought for Combate in Mexicali. I believe this was his second fight for them, and he fought in Mexicali. I went out there with him. So I was there in the back with him. We were at the hotel together, and for some reason or another, I went down. I saw somebody at the bar. I went, sat down next to them, had a good time, started talking to him. Turns out it was Tony. So I met him there, and it wasn't maybe until a year and a half, maybe 2 years later, that I ended up fighting for Combate. But at least I made that contact, and I kept in touch. I always told them that I was always available. I would fight anybody, and that goes still. I'll fight anybody at 135, at 125. I'm down to fight. I told them, just give me anybody that you want, and I'll say, yeah, let's go. So yeah, I just kept bugging him on that, and I'm still bugging him with the same thing. But I'm ready for that.
So you have a fight, but maybe you don't want to say who it's with, but maybe it's not with
Yeah,
Combate.
yeah. Maybe. That's why.
Okay.
I don't want to create any conflict. You know what I mean? I'm trying to fight. I honestly like. I know where my career. Speaking of my career, I know where I'm at. I've had 12 fights and my record 6-6. So it's just like perfectly balanced. I don't like that. I hate that. I like to win. To be honest, I like to win. I like to finish people, and I just want to get back to that. I really do. I really want to get back to that. I know that the only thing missing, is getting those wins. And I feel like every single loss has taught me little by little, unfortunately, little by little, how to get better. But I think I'm at the point where I got that confidence that I was missing.
What were some of the harder opponents you felt you had?
Um,
And
well, there's this fight that happened in LA with Albert Morales. He was an ex UFC fighter. Um, that one happened like in a blur, and I want to say that it's because he hit me pretty hard or something at one point. But like the finishing sequence for that one is always so blurry to me that I feel like maybe I was actually hurt or kind of rocked. So I want to say like that fight felt weird. It happened a little later than I wanted it to be. But yeah, like he just came prepared. And it taught me a lot too. Like just looking at him and how he was looking at me in the fight, what was going on. As I was trying to move around, I just felt like I don't know. It just kind of felt different. Like I wasn't necessarily doing my thing, but I was like in like I was doing what he wanted me to do at one point. Like he wanted a leg kick, and I was like, cool, let's go for a leg kick battle. Let's see who stops leg kicking first. And I think I learned from that experience a lot. You know what I mean? That was a hard fight. Um, the Vince Cheryl fight right before that one, that was in LFA. I was really confident for that. I felt like really, really good. But after the very first kick that I threw, I broke my foot. I didn't know at the time. I think adrenaline just, going. I just knew something was wrong with my leg, and I couldn't really put any weight on it. But I don't know. I just kept going on. I didn't think that my foot was broken or anything like that. So I fought on for like 2.5 rounds until I got finished with that. But or until I got finished. But so that one was just hard because I felt like I didn't know what was going on. But then again, like because I wasn't sure what was going on, it's not necessarily like I felt skill wise I was anywhere like missing anything. He got me on the ground and I'm still working on the ground game. Um, but yeah, if we go just through my last like 5 losses, like I think I'm able to determine like exactly what was going on in those moments, and so like those two. Then after that, I fought for Cage Fury actually, in a fight that I felt super good, but in the back of my head, I remember thinking like I just don't want to get rear naked choked. I just lost twice by RNC, and I was like, I know I'm good at defending RNCs. I'm at the gym defending RNCs all the time. It's just I just don't want that to happen. It was so in my head, like don't let that happen. And I feel like that was the only thing in my head, like don't let that happen. Then eventually, like as we start grappling in my head again, I'm like, oh, don't let that happen, don't let that happen. And as soon as I feel like the attack, it was like I let it happen. It was like, oh, I gave up, like oh, there it is. You know what I mean? Like I was waiting for it or something. It was a big mistake of mine, but I learned to never let that happen again. I had to take like a forced break from COVID, but I also wanted to just kind of get myself to really understand all of those losses, which is kind of how I came up with all this. But I really just wanted to understand what was going on, how to fix it, and especially like the mental part of it, because it didn't feel like I was again like missing skills. Like this guy was so much better than me at jiu-jitsu or so much better at wrestling or grappling that I couldn't keep up, and he got me. It just felt like these little moments, these little like yeah, these little moments where like my fight IQ fails. Like I don't know, my focus isn't necessarily in what it needs to be. It's focused on the wrong thing.
I mean, what kind of feed? I mean, I'm sure you talk to your coaches. What did they try to, you know, or maybe looking back on it after you've had like some losses?
Grappling for sure. I mean, we all know like I get taken down, and then sometimes it's hard for me to get up, or I've been subbed. So it's all been in like in the grappling game. So when we look at it, we really try to work on grappling. I try to roll with all the best people that I can, and like I said again, I think that I do pretty well. There's just something in the fight where I think I like lose focus. I don't think that we've gone specifically over it. Like as far as the focus, I think that the only way to really eliminate it is to rep it out. Make every correct or like have the correct solution every time, but rep that correct solution out until it becomes second nature, until it's just natural. You know what I mean? So I got a lot of training again after this last one. I've got a lot of training again with Mark Munoz, who I mean, he's a wizard with wrestling. Anything that you ask him, he has an answer for it. Jiu-jitsu too, grappling, anything that you ask Mark Munoz, he's got an answer. And if you challenge him to anything, get ready for the competition of your life, for real.
So you think that that's kind of been more of an emphasis because you've had some defeats on the ground, just not to get there at all.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of grappling with Mark Munoz. I work with that. I work with my homie Richard Ariola at Hybrid HQ, another wrestler, and he goes by. Well, I mean his gym is Hybrid HQ because he combines wrestling and jiu-jitsu, which is obviously what we MMA fighters try to do as well. I've been working also with Kyle there at 10th Planet Mission Viejo and my jiu-jitsu coach, Budo Mac, always. Honestly, I feel a lot better. I actually got to roll with Cub Swanson a little earlier during the last week, and it felt good to like compare myself to like who I was when I started jujitsu and where I'm at now. Actually, it was a good little marker.
So maybe you kind of got your experience by fighting early and kind of just continuing to fight.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My in my amateur career, actually, I went 3-0. I got a TKO, a KO, and then another TKO. So, but I kept breaking something. I kept breaking, like, I broke my ulna, and then in the knockout, I broke something in this hand. I don't remember if it was this one or this one. And then in my third fight, I broke, I think that was the knuckle. So if you look at my knuckles, my middle knuckle, this one is a lot flatter than this one. That one
Hmm.
got kind of sunk back. But after that, Cub was just like, you know what, you might as well get paid at this point. I mean, you're breaking your arm, your hands, or something. So might as well get paid. And yeah, I mean, I was doing well. I was 6-1 before this last losing streak. It was all working out. But yeah, I think that my grappling um, needed more reps. I think that I need more reps. I think I need more training. I just need more repetitions more than anything. More training partners willing to be in there in the gym and go hard. Go as hard as you possibly can for like 2 hours. That's what I want. I want to get like that wrestling grind. Just like these wrestlers get.
Now, how hard was it to go through that?
I have pretty good cardio, but damn, man, like after 10 seconds of grappling, it feels like you just sprinted, It's nothing like running even 10 miles, At this point, running 6 miles sounds easier than 1 hour of wrestling practice. Even just being in my stance, man, I'm 33 at this point. My lower back can't handle that. Like, are you serious? Being in that bent stance forever. Yeah, so it's like I like that though, right? Like I like that it's a challenge. If it's not a challenge, then like I probably won't even try to pursue it. But I want to be challenged. I want people to try to make me feel like I'm drowning in training, so that I don't feel that, or it's not like unfamiliar once I'm in the fight. If I feel like I'm drowning in the fight, that's fine, bro. I already know because I was drowning in practice. Like every single day, somebody's trying to kill me. That's what I want to be like. That's the confidence I'm looking to take in there.
Yeah, and especially at like the UFC events or even one, there's a lot of these guys that just, they're outstanding wrestlers from these,
Yeah.
Russian areas. And,
Yo, is one championship fast forwarded? It always feels like the guys in one championship are always so fast. They've
yeah.
got all these crazy slick moves with their grappling. I'd love to fight for them too, because I mean they allow strikes on the ground too, so maybe the action keep flowing.
Hmm. Yeah, it's just that when we're talking about like the wrestling, the grappling, and all that, I think now today it's even harder because these guys, like I said, these guys that are coming in from, Dagestan, Chechnya, these other places,
Yeah.
they're they're better than the wrestlers of the old years. These guys were good wrestlers, but these guys are really good on the ground. You
Speaking
know,
of, I can see that actually some of the homies joined up, but there's amateurs that come in now that are like such better wrestlers. Like they've been wrestling longer than I've been training. I have still I see Cash Money, Cash Quiroga. He comes in a lot. He's a pro MMA fighter now. He was the king of the cage flyweight champ for a little bit. Um, but he's like one of the most decorated wrestlers. We got Ian, who's an amateur. We had Trey Leone, who I think hasn't even had a fight, but he was like taking anybody he wanted down at will. You know, he's one of the strongest people I ever felt. Like, and these guys are amateurs again. Like one of them hasn't even had a fight. I've had 12 pro fights. This guy's still taking me down. Like, it's a different game. You know, it's a different level, especially like down here. I like that I think Southern like California, Orange County has kind of become this like little MMA mecca. Like you used to have big gyms like Jackson Wink and all these little areas. You know what I mean? New Mexico was a big area, but I think that we've kind of built a little name out here. We got a lot of people down here now.
Well, California's always had, even in the 90s, California was pretty important as far as the sport's existence, you
Thanks
know.
to like fights in Tijuana too.
Yeah, but a lot of the coming out of Huntington and, you know,
Yeah, Huntington Beach bad boy.
guys, all these guys, there were a lot of events in California, even when the UFC was kind of in the dark days. So I think California has always been pretty important
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
relative to the sport. I just think it attracts a lot of different kind of people, kind of like Florida. Florida's booming now too,
Yeah, Florida's been popping for sure.
like the Hollywood type thing. People go to the coasts. And yeah, I think that they're always going to boom to some extent.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to be a part of it. I'm happy to get like to be a part of even that. You know, we get fighters from all over the world coming to train with us. I just rolled with the guy from Guatemala. You know, I got a homie. I had to stay at my house from Costa Rica. I love the camaraderie. I love it.
Now, how far is San Diego from you?
So I'm in Santa Ana area, so like Orange County, it's about an hour and a half at the very most. Like, yeah, if you get a lot of traffic, it could be two, but I'm thinking like 115, 130, you know.
Yeah, because there's a lot of guys down there too. Do you ever go down there?
Not for training yet. I have a homie that trains out there. He used to be at Alliance, and now he's more of a Muay Thai fighter. He's like at the boxing club. Shout out Brian Tyler. But we got friends here from Orange County that actually go fight in San Diego, like Ian Miller, Juice MMA. He's been fighting out there. I cornered him. I got the opportunity to do that, and see a lot of other fighters from out there.
Yeah, I mean, you should check out Barrett Yoshida. I've known him since I was probably in
What
my
gym is that?
huh?
What which
Barrett
gym?
is at the arena, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and Chris Lieben, was another guy who was with him because Chris was out in
Oh,
Hawaii for a
okay.
while.
I've seen Chris
So
leaving reffing now.
yeah. Chris opened a gym too. So, but Barrett's a guy I think you might enjoy training with.
I wouldn't
He's
mind. Yeah.
incredibly unique, man, and just a different kind of guy. He's always been, when when jujitsu was kind of first starting to take hold on Oahu, you had Barrett was like well, you had Egan, Inouye, and Barrett. They were kind of like the top guys on Oahu, and then you had BJ Penn on the Big Island,
Okay.
and Barrett and BJ kind of had, their thing going.
It's like a rivalry.
Well, Barrett didn't beat BJ, I don't believe, but yeah, they were kind of like one and
All
two,
right.
or
All right.
yeah. So of
And
that
now
kind of,
he's out in San Diego. You're saying?
yeah, he's been out there a long time, but
Hell yeah, man. I have to look
he's
him up for sure.
developed, he's kind of developed that crucifix game. I don't know if you've watched him too much, but
Mm-mm.
yeah, he wins like just tons of matches with the different crucifix chokes and stuff. He's kind of developed
Badass.
the whole hammer in the crucifix, and in the gi and without the gi. So you should check him out sometime for
I will. I
sure.
definitely will, man. And any other references you could shoot my way, I'd love to. I'd love to, for real.
Yeah, because when I lived on Oahu, he was the kind of guy that was, kind of known for tearing everybody out, So
Heck yeah. Did you yourself start like covering the sport or maybe like looking into the sport like back then?
I did some stuff like in the 90s, but not really anything serious. But I did some interviews with some different guys, and
Oh yeah.
I did some training when I was like in my 20s and early 30s. But yeah, I did some interviews. Like I interviewed Dean Thomas and some other people like in the 90s, like
Hell yeah.
I back then. And I kind of just started doing this because one of my friends on Oahu was saying, you used to do stuff like that. You could probably, why don't you just kind of talk to people? And I'm like, what for? Why do I want to do that? It's like, it's just something to do. I mean, these other people are doing it and they don't know anything. And that's kind of the way.
Exactly. Yeah, true that.
And I was like, all right, whatever. I'll do it and see how
I
it
mean,
goes. But,
it sounds like you have like a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience.
well, I mean, I've been around a lot of places, I would say. So it was more just kind of like geographical, I would say, because I lived on Oahu where the sport was popular. I lived in Japan where the sport was popular. So I knew people,
Japan, that's true.
I just knew people from living in these locations. So you just run into people, just like you're saying in Orange County, if you're around a place where there's a lot of people, it's not really a big community necessarily. It's everybody knows everybody.
Heck yeah.
So it's pretty easy to
Was
get.
MMA like a popular thing? Like, could you walk up and say like, "Oh, I like MMA" out there in Japan at the time, and somebody would know what you were talking about?
Uh, yeah, I mean, Pride was popular and it was in the newspapers. Like if you're on the train, the guys reading newspaper, that
Cool.
there might be something on the back, or they had magazines like Gong, Koktogi magazine, and so I mean, most of the people knew about Pride and K1, but I think some of the smaller promotions they may not have known about. Like I met Kid Yamamoto when I was probably
And,
25, 6, and he was fighting in Shuto. A lot of people like in the Shuto world knew who he was already, but people in regular Japan didn't know who he was until he kind of started fighting in the K1 shows, and stuff like that. And that's when he kind of got really famous. But before then, there were guys like in the underground or in Shuto. They knew that he was dangerous, and
yeah.
but rich person would have had no clue who he was.
And were you able to attend these places live?
Yeah, I mean, when you go to in Japan, they kind of have you have your big arenas like Tokyo Dome. You got Yokohama. They have an arena there where Pride would do events, but the main one where a lot of the events happen is Korakuen Hall. And Korakuen Hall is a little arena. I think it holds maybe 3,000 people. It kind of looks like a high school gymnasium, sort of.
I'll find
It's
some of those.
dome, and then right around the corner from Tokyo Dome is Korakuen Hall. You could walk by it and have no idea it was there. You could pass it 100 times and have no idea. But at night, they usually have an event almost several times a week because
Oh, damn.
Shudo will run in there, Pancrase runs in there, Shoot Boxing runs in there. All these other organizations, they run in there, plus the pro wrestling events run in there. So it's always busy. There's people always there. And
Yeah.
like the fans that attend events at Korakuen Hall, like I was telling you about, like Kid Yamamoto or Ensign, I went to events with those guys and people wouldn't approach them at those
Oh,
events.
wow.
If you went to if you went to Pride with Ensign or something like that, he would
Yeah.
get swarmed with people. So it was almost like the entertainment fans go to
Yeah.
Pride, hardcores go to Shuto and stuff like. Because there's fighters all over the place at Shuto. They're sitting in the stands with everybody else.
Heck yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's just like a high school gymnasium type feel to it. And you're kind of right down on the ring. You can hear everything.
Oh, I
You know,
love that. I've always talked about that. That's like my favorite aspect of watching fights live is being able to hear it. So when shows for the UFC moved to the Apex, I actually thought they were better.
right, right, and that's a good point you make. It's very similar in that you hear like every crack, every kick, you
Yeah.
can breathing, you can hear everything, and that's kind of how it is in Rockland Hall because the fans don't. Japanese fans aren't allowed to begin with, but
Yeah.
small arenas, you can hear everything. You can hear the cornermen,
Loud and
every.
clear.
Yeah, it's very similar to the Apex. So that's a good point you brought up because
Okay.
it was a lot like that. You could hear the corner, you could hear the announcers, the fighters could hear the announcers.
Yeah,
You know,
that actually tripped me out. In my last two fights, they were at Univision Studios for Combate Global, and I could hear the Spanish commentators, almost throughout the whole thing. And at times, like I would even hear them over my coaches, you know, because
Mhm.
they always have to be talking.
And they're talking about you, which is kind of
Yeah.
irritating.
I remember specifically there was an overhand, and so like I like to fight with my hands down. I roll a lot of punches, like they hit, but you know what I mean? Like they're not damaging. I'm rolling out. And so they made a sound like a slap. And I remember the commentators to my right saying like, "Oh, he got hurt by that one," and I was just like, "No, come on, I could tell. I heard you. That was a cool moment actually. I liked fighting in that little studio actually. I love crowds, and I fought at home, so I've had like a bunch of people that I know see me fight. I fought, you know, out of town. I fought in Miami in the studio. I fought in a lot of different areas, arenas and stuff. But I think that as a fighter, the studio was cool just because you could hear your coaches loud and clear. You could just focus on the fight, and you just take all that away. Obviously, the crowd gives you energy. The crowd like pumps you up, especially if you're in a bad spot. I remember thinking like, my mom can't see me right now under this guy. You know what I mean? I got to pop up. So like maybe that aids, but yeah, I really like the studio feel.
Yeah. We used to have a, kind of joke around when people would come, they didn't know where Karakwan Hall was. But it's kind of true. Like when you get to this pseudo station, because most people ride the train, you're going to start to see more people with damaged ears on the train.
Oh,
So we would say just follow
those
that ear.
guys know where to
Just
go.
follow the ear. Don't even follow the guy. Just the ear, and it'll lead you to
Yeah.
the because that's where they're usually going. Yeah. So
Oh my God. That reminds me of like
yeah,
jujitsu tournaments, like in high schools, you know. High schools are so big nowadays. I'll be in the parking lot and just be looking around for the colorful shorts guys or the colorful rash guards, you know, something like that, something that'll give them out. Oh, the guy with the rainbow hair, that guy's for sure rolling with somebody.
yeah. You should go to Japan sometime. Yeah,
Oh
it's a
man, I
good.
would love to. I would love
Yeah.
to.
It's not as necessarily as big now because Japan, had some pretty strict regulations. They weren't able to bring in a lot of foreign fighters during this whole time. But
Mm-hmm.
we're starting to do a lot of different stuff now. Sakaki Bara was with Pride and obviously Ryzen now,
Yeah.
and they're kind of doing like three different kind of events. They have one that's kind of like a feeder event to the real Ryzen. Then they have one that's kind of like a high end experience. Like you go there, I think the ticket is like $800, $900.
Whoa.
You sit at a table, you eat good food. You're right next to the
As the
cage.
fights
Yeah, yeah,
go
yeah,
on?
yeah. It's only for like
Yeah.
people that are wanting to spend that kind of money or wealthy people, and so they have that event. Ryzen has like these three different events that can all kind of feed into the regular Ryzen, so to speak. But I think as the COVID restrictions, whenever Japan decides to relax them, they
Yeah.
can start bringing more fighters and then maybe
Speaking
start to
of, I have
pick
another
up
friend, Spike Carlisle. He's gonna be fighting for Ryzen pretty soon. I just saw that. That was his dream. Oh, I'm so happy for him. Big shout out.
Yeah, so he probably had to make a contact out there or something. It's doable. Like I said, I had a friend Ryan Bowe. He was fighting in Japan. He was teaching English. He was fighting in Shuto. He's an American guy, but he lived in Japan. And I was in the military, but he was like one of the only foreigners that was living in Japan every day. And
Dang,
he spoke Japanese. He
that's
so
a hard language.
yeah. But I mean, these things are doable if you ever want to fight out there. It's doable. It can be
Yeah.
done for sure. It
Oh,
seems like something far off, but I think it was definitely a special experience for guys back at that time. But I think it could be that way again for sure. You know,
yeah,
and
definitely
guys
down
like
for that though.
they'd go out to Roppongi after these, so you'd see like if you were out there, you'd see all the guys that fought that night. Or, yeah, so it's it's pretty cool
Yeah,
for sure.
that's another one of my dreams too. I mean, I want to go to Japan. That's always been a dream. But if I could go to Japan to fight, that oh man, even better, even better. And then if I got to watch a fight, and get fed, get out. Get out. Those three things right there would be just perfect.
Yeah, there's a guy, Manabu Takashima. He's real involved with Shuto, and he's on Facebook. He speaks English pretty well. If you talk to him, or
Oh, I'd love to. Heck yeah.
yeah, he might. If you ever thought about fighting like in Shuto or something, I have a friend out there I can connect you with.
Oh man, Todd, you're gonna make my dreams come true. You're saying.
he fights in deep, and he does a lot of translation for different organizations because he speaks Portuguese, French, Japanese, and English. So he works for a lot of the promotions.
I'll help him
Uh,
with the Spanish. Let's go.
yeah, exactly. But it's something doable. So yeah, I'd be happy to connect you with those guys for sure.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I really appreciate that for real. That's always been a dream. I mean, I grew up like loving video games and anime, and then I got into fighting, where like the other big organization was Japan. So yeah, Japan's always been a country I've certainly wanted to explore.
So when you do get your next fight, it'll be cool to see you announce it, so we'll see where it's at,
Mhm.
who you're fighting.
I want to know. I want to know myself. I don't know who I'm fighting. I know the date. I certainly want to be there. Like May 28th, especially the venue, the place where it would be. That would be another one of those dreams come true. It's I could have a lot of family from Mexico like attend that one personally. It'll be on that side, so it would be such a sick event to be a part of.
Yeah, what is the scene in Mexico like now?
So I haven't trained in Mexico, but I do know a lot of people that are. I know some people in Mexicali, which is a city right across from Calexico. Which is kind of funny. Calexico, right across from Mexicali, that are training there. I have a friend, and mostly just through like Instagram that I made friends with him, but I saw him live. Edgar Chaides, he was the 125 champ for Combate, and he just got another win in Naciones, so he's doing well. But he trains at Entram, which is in Tijuana, and there's a lot of really good people in Entram. Uh, Back when Kay Hansen was training at for her camp, she's actually another mainstay at Classic. I forgot to mention her. I don't know why. But yeah, Kay Hansen, she we all got invited to go train at Entram. We didn't make it happen, but that would be something really cool to do because there's a lot of really good people over there. And then when I went with Elisa, my girl, to go fight in Rosarito for Fearless MMA when she had her first fight, I met my friend Carlos from Lobo Gym in Guadalajara. And so I know Guadalajara, and Team Lobo Gym specifically has been popping. I mean, Alexa Grasso, I think, fights this weekend. Irene Aldana, along with her, has been training at that gym, and all the Grassos. I'd love to make my way out there, at least for like a camp or something.
Now, kind of as we're winding down the interview, I kind of like to let people, if there's something we talked about or something you think is important, or where people can find stuff like that.
Um, if I could say anything, I would say just keep on, keep watching, keep watching. I haven't given up, so don't give up on me. Um, I know like where I sit at, I'm very comfortable with like where I'm at, but just wait. Just like me, stay up, baby, and we're gonna go to the top. Stay with me.
And where can people kind of follow you on what you're doing, like on social media?
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Stay up Carlos, obviously on Instagram, also on Twitter. I don't have a Facebook, so I don't know what to go on with that. Um, Part of Doom Squad MMA, so follow them on Instagram as well. And for my video career, which is kind of like what I try to do for money out here, Orange County, LA area, Stay Up Videos. Hit me up for all your video needs.
Do you have an Instagram for stay up videos?
Yeah, Stay Up Videos.
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
Heck yeah, thank you.
All right, man. Well, it was great talking to you, and like I said, maybe after we can catch up again, and I'm going to send you some stuff offline here.
Yes, sir. Please, especially trying to make it out to Japan, man. I really
Yeah,
appreciate your help. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for talking to me. Yeah, I'm glad that you started doing this. because even just for myself, it's a cool little outlet to just kind of get you even more personal, like not just for myself, but like I get to get that out and let other people know what's going on in my head, you know. So thanks for the opportunity.
Everybody in my town, they all know your cousin. You know, she's
Hell
like
yeah!
the most
Shout out
one of
Kitzel Puente. Thanks for making it happen.
she's like one of the more recognizable faces in the city, I guess. You know, because
I'm gonna
she's
have to
on
go
the
pay her a visit after one of these wins.
yeah, that'll be great, man. You should come out. Yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
sir.
All right, man. It was great talking to you. It was great meeting you. And like I said, I'll get with you offline here in a moment.
Cool, man. Thank you, Todd. Have a good one.
You too.
Peace
Take
out.
care.